and welcome to another video made by Science Done Right. Now, last time we talked about what is chemistry and we also talked about the basic unit of chemistry. That's, of course, as I said, it's an atom. And at the first video of this channel, we talked about what is physics. And in that video, we talked about a concept called as pressure. I have already done two. The first video was what is physics. The second video was what is chem. And this video is what is, well, hang on, it'll come in a few minutes. Okay, speaking about that, you think about yourself, how are you made of? Now, as I said the previous day, you're made out of atoms. But if you remember, in a certain section of a video, I said that human bodies, or in this case, the stickmen, are made out of organ systems, which are made out of organs, which are made out of cells. And then I said cells are made out of molecules, molecules are made out of atoms, right? Now, in that video, I have explained molecules and atoms. Now, what's the higher part? The cell. What is it? Now, that is today's topic. And the cell is the fundamental unit of life. It is also the basic, the fundamental unit of a subject called as biology. Now, biology is a study of living things like you and me and a pet cat or dog that you might have had or have. Now, let's talk about the cell. Now, of course, in future videos, I may talk about the tissues and the organs. But for this video, only the cells, okay? Now, you can say the cell is the fundamental unit of life because just like everything around us is made out of atoms, there's an exception for living things. Actually, it's not actually an exception, it's just like it's one step of the ladder. You can take this fundamental building block thingies as a ladder, and cell is like the third step for forming living things. So yeah, it's pretty fundamentalish. Now, cells are special. Cells have no consciousness. Sorry. Cells have no consciousness. Now that means that cells have no particular goal, they have no particular thing to do. In fact, they do have a particular thing to do, but let's catch on that later. Now, since cells have no consciousness, they can't work alone. Of course, that doesn't mean they can't survive alone, they just can't work alone to make a living being. For example, this is a cell. Hundreds of cell functions are made. Now, a cell, which is represented as this hexagonal box here, has many functions to do depending on what it is, what is its structure, and other variable factors like where it's living, is it solitary or with a small group of cells, etc. etc. Now, a cell, as I said, has no consciousness, but a cell can make and manage functions. For example, a neuron can pass electrical signals from one point to another, such as in the brain. Now, one thing that's special about cells is they can help each other. Like, if a cell gets food and produces ATP, that's energy, or you know, okay, let's just call it energy because I'm going to show in the top right corner what is the full form of ATP. It's actually a molecule called as adenosine triphosphate, ATP. This is it again, triphosphate. Okay, now the cells can cooperate and just give them each other. But when a cell is solitary, it can only survive by itself. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why we have almost an octillion cells in our body. Now, an octillion is a huge number. You may be familiar of trillions or billions. Now, an octillion is much bigger. The trillion is like, 1,000 times of a trillion is something called a quadrillion. Quadrillion. 1,000 times of that is quintillion, standing for 5. Trillion stands for 3. Billion stands for 2, and million stands for 1. And this leads to sexillion and septillion, and then octillion, meaning we are going through 1,000 times, 1,000 times. I'm just calculating it for you, though I already know it. Now, we know that this is equal to this, and then there's sextillion and then septillion. Multiply them all up, and it's what? It's 1,000 to the 5th. You can also represent that as 10 cubes to the 5 equals 10 to the 15 trillion. Now, the trillion itself is really small compared to these numbers. I mean, a trillion is 1,000 billion. And so let's write it down. A trillion is really huge, guys. Okay, let's add another pair here instead of there. Now this is a trillion, and multiply it with a number that's followed by 1 and 15 zeros, and that's an octillion. I know that's incredulously huge, but you should just accept that fact. Now, a cell has another way of living. It also can live on something called autotrophic mode of nutrition. You might have heard this somewhere. Yes, it's the nutrition that plants use. In fact, this is actually a plant cell. I just draw a plant cell so that it looks a bit more celly. Okay? You get it? Now, in the upcoming videos, we are gonna speak about the parts of a cell. Now, yes, even cells have parts of them, and even the different species can affect the cell structure. That is, if you are an animal or a plant, it can affect the cell structure. As I said, this is a plant cell, but animal cells are more blobbyish. Of course, it's not a rule, it's just, like that. So, see you in the next video. Bye bye. See you again later. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. And also, you can support us by sending comments, and also you can help us support it. You can motivate us in the comments, and you can also share this video if you like it. So bye bye.